From coast to coast and through the heartland, the dream is the same. Win an XTERRA National Championship. A goal that binds all, no matter the region, no matter the hometown.
Stratton Mountain, Vermont.
Littleton, Colorado.
Sunnyvale, California.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Newport, Rhode Island.
Roseville, California.
Brooklyn, New York, baby.
The culmination of XTERRA's tour through America takes center stage. The pinnacle of lifelong ambition, born of enduring determination.
I'm an adrenaline junkie.
I like crossing the finish line alive.
Any excuse to get on my mountain bike works for me.
I'm just a dirty girl at heart.
I race XTERRA because I've got way too much energy.
More than 50 events in all corners of the country have led the nation's off-road elite to the shores of Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Qualified to be here, the price paid, well worth it.
Racing XTERRA has put 10,000 miles on our new RV.
When it comes to training or homework, I usually choose training.
I had to give up volleyball and horseback riding just to be here.
I ride the streets of Brooklyn, even with the crazy cab drivers.
Because of XTERRA, I've never had a real job.
They do it for themselves, for their families, and yes, for glory. But most of all, they do it for love. Love for XTERRA.
XTERRA is the ultimate challenge.
XTERRA is not for whiners.
XTERRA is a fountain of my youth.
XTERRA is an exercise in pain management.
XTERRA is fun, in a sick and twisted sort of way.
I am the next.
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 XTERRA USA Champion.
I am the next XTERRA USA Champion.
I am the next XTERRA USA Champion. Forget about it. Don't bother coming.
The XTERRA USA Championship in magnificent Lake Tahoe, Nevada. A brisk fall morning greets an army of dedicated XTERRA warriors.
Ciao ragazzi, benvenuti a Lake Tahoe, Nevada, alla finale del campionato americano XTERRA e buona fortuna a tutti.
Buona fortuna!
Professional and amateur athletes representing 46 states and 8 countries are here, each with a chance to take an XTERRA national title. On most athletes' minds, how to survive today's first test, a 1,500-meter swim in the 58-degree waters of Lake Tahoe. Close to 400 competitors hit the water to begin the XTERRA USA Championship, all of whom have earned their spot here through a grueling qualification process. Early on, a couple of amateurs share the lead, 41-year-old Bruce Gennari and 31-year-old Trevor Gray. Just behind them, and leading the pro field, is defending champion Seth Wheeling. Always one of the top swimmers, Wheeling uses his time in the water to set the tone for the rest of his day.
I've really focused in on not so much just killing at power swimming, but just being really, really sleek and efficient. So for me, it's just a matter of efficiency and using the swim as kind of almost a 20-minute warm-up at the beginning of the race.
The swim here is made up of 2 750-meter triangular laps, each lap separated by a 50-meter run on Lake Tahoe's sandy white beach. Leading the pro women's field is a trio in pink caps, Americans Erin Ford and Candy Angle, and the woman who won this race last year, Melanie McQuaid of Canada. Leading the charge after lap 1 is Bruce Gennari. Gennari led the race last year at the same point, and while he's not a serious threat to win, is setting a torrid swim pace. First pro out of the water is a serious contender for the overall title, American Seth Wheeling. So far, so good for the defending champion. As Gennari begins lap 2, South African Conrad Stoltz hits the beach. After a disastrous 2006 season, Stoltz is hungry to reclaim this race, which he's won 3 times before. A bike crash just 2 days before last year's race knocked Stoltz out of the field and has left him with a bitter taste for the entire year. The lead women hit the sand. Among them, Erin Ford, Candy Angle, and defending champion Melanie McQuaid. For most of the field, half of the swim is now in the books. The XTERRA USA Championship in Lake Tahoe, Nevada is underway. The XTERRA USA Championship is presented by Nevada. Visit travelnevada.com. Travelocity, you'll never roam alone. And by Pacifico, Mexico via Pacifico. At the XTERRA USA Championship, athletes are finishing their 1,500-meter swim in Lake Tahoe. Seth Wheeling is the first pro out of the water. He begins the quarter-mile run to the transition area. 30 seconds back is South African Conrad Stoltz. Also exiting the water is 42-year-old Aussie Andrew Noble. The transition area next to the Hyatt Regency Lake Tahoe is beginning to see some action. Amateur Bruce Gennari enters transition first, but his moment in the sun figures to be just that, a moment. Seth Wheeling is the first pro in transition. He's had a good swim and has set himself up nicely for the bike portion of the race. Back in the water, another pro, Mike Vine, is finishing the swim alongside pro woman Candy Angle. And if you thought XTERRA wasn't a contact sport, just ask Angle, who gets in the way of a Mike Vine dolphin dive. Seconds behind Angle is the defending champ, Melanie McQuaid. Seth Wheeling took the title here last year, but absent from that race was Conrad Stoltz. Stoltz is determined to retake the position in XTERRA he feels is rightfully his.
I was especially hungry when early in the season. When I came back from the injury, I didn't know how good I was, and I started training, and my first few XTERRAs I wanted to prove that I'm back and I can do this and I'm still the best, and this is my race, this is my series, and this is my title, and I'm here to get it back.
Andrew Noble has made his way into transition alongside the fastest female swimmer of the day, former Stanford standout Sarah Watchorn. While Canadian Mike Vine and American Josiah Middow get ready for their bike ride, Seth Wheeling has already begun the 32-kilometer bike course. American Jamie Whitmore exits the water, a couple of minutes behind her biggest rival, Melanie McQuaid. McQuaid is full of confidence after breaking Whitmore's 4-year Tahoe win streak last year.
I think if you look at the number of times that Jamie's won here versus the number of times that I've won, I'd say that she's the odds-on favorite because she has had so many wins. And I believe that most of that has been home course advantage. So if you want some inside perspective on this year's race, this is the first time I've been here for 3 weeks. I've ridden the course more times in the last 3 weeks than I've raced on this race course. And I did win last year. So I would say that the bookmakers are going to bet against me, but I'm not.
McQuaid has won the last 2 XTERRA World Championships on Maui, so she's a proven winner at XTERRA's biggest events. No woman has seen more of the Jamie-Melanie rivalry than Candy Angle. Whitmore enters transition. She knows that if she's to win here, she needs to stay within striking distance of McQuaid.
I think it still comes down to Melanie. She won this race last year off of me flatting, and she wants to prove that she won it outright, and I want to prove that, you know, I hold the record here. So it's definitely going to come to a head-to-head battle between the two of us, and it's that rivalry that keeps sending us more and more to the top.
If anyone was ever ready to break up the Whitmore-McQuaid dominance of the sport, it's New Zealand's Jennifer Smith. She's not the best swimmer, but could be the strongest cyclist in the field. Seth Wheeling left transition with a 40-second lead over Conrad Stoltz. On the climb up Tunnel Creek Road, Stoltz passes Wheeling. Much of the field is still making the transition from swimmer to biker. Among them, a father-daughter team, Jack and Shayna Pallas. At 13 years old, Shayna is making history today as the youngest person to ever compete at the XTERRA USA Championship.
I'm just like a regular 13-year-old girl, but I also enjoy XTERRAs, which someone as young as me might not be able to do as much. But I also just like to do regular stuff like horseback riding and volleyball and reading and watching movies.
Ever since Shayna was very little, we exposed her to as many different, not just sports, but activities as possible. And she just seems to gravitate to the multi-sport. So yeah, she's a multifaceted person.
Shayna first raced a mountain bike at the age of 4. Her parents are both triathlon coaches. Her dad, Jack, is an avid triathlete himself, and her mom, Jeanette, is a former Olympic marathoner. So Shayna certainly has the bloodline for XTERRA.
I think XTERRA is in my blood a little bit because, well, my dad has done it a whole lot and my mom has done it a little bit. My favorite part about it, and I think it's the most funnest part, is the mountain biking and the thrill of it.
I wouldn't recommend any young child to do this type of racing. I allow Shayna to do this type of racing only because as her coach, I know that she has an incredible gift, and she's not a normal 13-year-older.
Even at the tender age of 13, Shayna already exhibits the drive and desire it takes to be an elite athlete.
She has an incredible ability to pace herself. She absolutely hates to fail. With her, it's not even an option. Just so proud of her that she's already able to compete at this level. As long as she continues her love for the sport, I see no limits to her ability to reach the very top of the sport.
Geared up for biking, Shayna gets a nice send-off from the crowd in transition before her 32-kilometer ride up the mountain. Rural Nevada is fast becoming a mecca for adventure travelers. Whether you're an adrenaline junkie or in search of something a little more tame, the state of Nevada has it all. Explore the endless possibilities of the Silver State at travelnevada.com. This portion of the XTERRA USA Championship is presented by Travelocity. You'll never roam alone. The second leg of the XTERRA USA Championship is a 32-kilometer mountain bike ride in the scenic Sierra Nevada mountains. Conrad Stoltz leads the uphill charge on Tunnel Creek Road, part of a 2,500-foot climb testing the lungs and legs of each athlete. With Lake Tahoe as the backdrop, this is one of the most stunning mountain bike trails in the world. But Stoltz has no time for sightseeing. Trying to keep up with him is the defending champ, Seth Wheeling. Wheeling, who lives in Boulder, Colorado, works full-time as an architect while maintaining a full-time schedule as a pro triathlete, making for an active and very busy lifestyle.
I mostly do anywhere from mid to small size commercial projects. I've done some high-end residential work. In terms of what I provide is kind of the link between all the individual pieces that make a building to make it, livable and workable.
In addition to his full-time architect job, Seth normally trains 40 hours a week. Two passions that he feels blend perfectly together.
I feel that racing really translates over well to what I do, because it's all about time management and balance, and you really have to be not only flexible, but you also have to be pretty rigid. I mean, the course provides, things change, things move, but you still have to be fast and you still have to be on. Well, the same thing goes for when I'm working. Things may change and you have to compromise on something, but you still have to take a stand on other things. You can't be a wet noodle all the time. That's what, for me, makes great architecture and makes my project successful. I'm pretty motivated in terms of my training, so I don't really have the problem of skipping practices. And then the quality level of my training is pretty high. So I think that the way I have everything balanced out, it works best for me, because I've done both. I've raced full time, and I don't think I was racing any better then. I think I'm racing better now. So I think it's just a matter of planning everything out and the quality, which makes it a great training.
Those time management skills will come in handy for Wheeling as he needs to make up some ground on Conrad Stoltz. Things are starting to shape up in the women's race too.
All right, now looking good now.
Melanie McQuaid has the early lead up Tunnel Creek Road. But this race is in Jamie Whitmore's backyard, and she's always comfortable at altitude. After her second place finish here last year, Kiwi Jen Smith has heightened expectations. South African Conrad Stoltz lives in nearby Reno, which means he's had a lot of practice on these trails. His experience is showing as he rips through the Tahoe single track. The race for second has intensified. Andrew Noble holds a slight lead over Seth Wheeling, who is now trying to hold off Mike Vine. McQuaid continues to lead.